Okay, so this is the last of the Christmas card series. I thought I'd do 6 different Christmas cards. There is a playlist for them if you decide you want to look through. Most of them are quite simple, very festive. This one I thought I'd be a little bit more nostalgic with. And I'm going to do a bit of drawing so you can see what to do with the drawing element. So I am going to pop in a bit of a Christmas tree, or a bit of a fir tree, basically, into the foreground. I'm going to put a horizon line in. I think I'm going to pop another tree. So I'm going to very loosely pop another tree in here. And then by that tree, I'm going to have couple of people. So I've got an oval head coming down with a body, they're going to be looking side to side, basically. Going to be arm here. We're going to silhouette them, so it's not going to be so hard to draw them out. If they've got a bigger head, they'll look like children. So these ones I'm aiming for children. If they've got a smaller head, they'll look like an adult. Got a little bit of a dress. Again, another arm coming forwards. You can see a little bit of an arm there. And then I'm going to have a great big present in the middle. Again, this is going to be silhouetted. So I've got a big square with a bit of a ribbon on the top. So nice and simple. We want to give the little girl, she can have some long hair, or maybe give the little boy a snowy hat. So a little bit of drawing there. So I'm going to wet the whole thing. Any watercolour cards will do. These are Frisk watercolour cards. I popped a link on the first one, the Robbing. It did sell out quite quickly. So yeah, these are C5 size Frisk watercolour cards with a deckled edge. So I'm going to use around number 6. Going to dip into some colour. So this is cadmium yellow. So I'm going sunsetty sky. Bit of cadmium yellow. Bit of cadmium orange. These are all neat on the palette. I'm just loading my brush with water. And then coming in. And then a bit of rose. Let's try to vignette it out towards the top, because I don't like to put a border in on Christmas cards. You can draw a border and go quite neatly up to the edge if you want to. I like to keep it as easy as possible for myself. So I'm just flicking through a little bit of the rose. Getting a nice sunset background there. I'm just going to take a hint of this same colour, horizontal strokes, across the foreground to sort of mirror the colours from the sky. And then I've got a nice green mix here, which was Viridian green with a bit of burnt sienna to make it look more natural. we're going to come in and create these Christmas trees. Nice flicky out motion. The paint's very thick, so it's not going to move too far. I'm just coming all the way down. Take a little dab of water in and a little bit of the Prussian blue because I want to make this one a bit darker. So now I've got the base on. I can bring this in a little bit darker. So it's overlapping that other tree nicely. It just makes for a different and interesting composition. Take that up a little bit. Bring a few little bits out. It's starting to dry now, so I'm at that point where I can come in, fiddle a little bit, the sheen's gone off, and create these edges that aren't quite as soft and start to hold it together nicely. Little flicky bits, basically. Okay, I'm going to dry that one off. Okay, so that's nicely dry. I've taken a little bit more of the Prussian blue into this mix, and then I can just come into this tree, just create a little bit more detail. The more I do on this one in the foreground, the more misty the background bit will look and more nostalgic. That's my idea anyway. So little flicks as I come down. Just vary the pressure of your brush. Don't do the same stroke every time. Some are light, some are you press on a little bit more, and that's going to give a nice random effect. You can come and break through some of these edges. On the previous Christmas tree one, I kept it all within, but this Christmas tree is very, very close now, so you can break through and have some hard edges and soft edges, and that works really well. It gives an extra dimension to the watercolour. So I'm just building up this area. If I dab into the burnt umber, I can just create a bit of a tree trunk there, and then if I take some of the green, I can give that darker side just by dabbing in a little bit there. I rinse my brush, dab it off in the clean water, dab off. It's a little bit wet, it's not too bad. I don't want it to be totally dry. I'm just going to just touch that edge just so I get that foreground happening there. So I'm going to come in now with a little bit of shadow. So I've got a little bit of shadow there. So this is just a dab of Prussian blue. I'm just going to create a little bit of shadow here. It's a bit like when you did butterflies and you folded over. You've just got to get it to look very similar. I'm coming to the side. It's just enough for it to hold together. and give them a nice base. If we just do this as well. So it's just little bits of blue here. Okay, I'll dry that one off. Okay, so that's nicely dry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a dab of the rose, a dab of the burnt umber, and a dab of the Prussian blue. And I'm looking for a muted grey purple. So I might need to take a little bit more of each in. But I'm using the colours that I've used within the picture, so I don't introduce another colour in here. And then we're going to come in and silhouette. So just painting them in. This is with my round number 6. If you were more comfortable with a different brush, you could use a different brush. It's whatever you're comfortable with. You're going straight on to dry. Coming down to your shadow. That little bit of rose just gives it a really nice warmth, and it ties in with the sunset sky. If something starts to watermark, as in it dries quicker one side than the other, just come back over it. These are little sections. You should just be able to come back over those. Silhouetted people are the easiest of people for you to practice at anyway. So I'll just dry that one off. Okay, so that's nicely dry. We're very nearly done. So I'm just going to add a little bit of light and a bit of snow. So if I just dab a bit of water just in places. So I don't want them to be so solid. So this is just water I'm adding on. Then if I just dab off, with the watercolour cards, it does come off really easily. You're just going to get a little bit of light, and it gives an extra dimension really, and a bit more softness to it as well. So it doesn't quite look as harsh, it looks a bit misty. Misty's nostalgic, we like that. So that's just water and dabbing with the kitchen towel. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of snow. So I've used this technique before in pictures. So you can already see it's dropping off. So you can use the palette knife to flick. So I'm painting on a little bit of gouache. You could use gouache, you could use acrylic. This is just white gouache. And I'm giving it a little bit of snow. The closer you are, the more in control you are of the paint splatter. You just have to keep painting it on. You can do throwing with a brush as well, we've done that before, but this just gives it a really nice snowy effect that's very, very random. Okay, I'll dry that one off. Okay, so that's nicely dry now. You can see it's a really nice nostalgic effect. So I hope you've enjoyed the Christmas card series. I'm sure I'll do another one next year. I've just tried to give you some really simple ideas to have a go at with watercolour. And I shall see you next time.